Got a little bit closer to like where my expected move was, but even then, I think MM's got burned pretty hard. There we go. All right. Yeah, I mean, failed to regain gamma neutral. That's pretty bearish. We tried to test it earlier today, failed. Failed again at the end of the day. We'll see what happens in the overnight session, but short of gapping back up over that, we're going to open with bulls in a really bad spot tomorrow. So, I don't know. Watch for a ES push up to like 60, 80 in the overnight. I don't think any of the earnings are really going to make that big of a difference, but maybe they will. If this gets rejected, 6,000, obviously a very important test, and then 59.48 following that. So yields mostly down today alongside the dollar. Possibly a little bit of flight to safety with the de-risking that we saw. Commodities down overall. A little bit of a drop in crude. Now it's 73 a barrel, just under the cusp of being inflation, driving inflation. Gold and silver both down. Looks like most precious metals are down. Industrial metals down. Commodities not doing too well today. Correlation on the 1 month broke down a little bit, but they tried to turn it around throughout most of the day. The 3 month correlation also breaking down a little bit today. And even into the end of the day, correlation wasn't doing too well. I mean, several attempts at turning this around, but it doesn't look like anybody's readily getting back into the dispersion trade. Definitely a significant move from last night. Leverage in the carry dropped. Pretty substantially from 9.1 to 8.8 earlier today, closing out the day around 8.7, and it dropped also a little bit more substantially, about 0.3, zero point 0.4 at the short end. Forward yield on volatility remained positive into close, although substantially lower than it was earlier today. If I go down here to like the 1 hour, we hit a forward yield on volatility around 22% earlier, ending the day at 2.45%. Still positive, so there'll still be a demand for long volatility going into the overnight session and tomorrow's market open, but not that positive. They generally don't like to let that get too out of control. Nothing in bond vol, although I'm sure bond vol picked up a bit today with the drop in yields, especially across the middle of the curve, with the 2 year and 5 year dropping quite a bit. There was a tail on the 2 year print today, but a very small one. Bid to cover on it was kind of shitty. Skew fell yesterday. Probably gonna see that fall a little bit more today. I would say there was a lot of put selling, but I don't think there was quite as much as we lost on Friday. This will have fallen probably pretty substantially, but we'll see where that ends up. Despite the drop today, correlation between VIX and VX actually fell a little, down about 3%. Still statistically relevant, but we definitely got that spike in volatility that we were expecting as correlation rose. So they're definitely shorting the out of this, probably trying to stabilize things. We'll see if that's successful or not. Sometimes you get a lot of near-term volatility shorting and then they get blown up also, thinking they can risk back on again after the drop. Fed fund futures actually moved up a little bit today, pricing in I think one full rate cut by the end of 2025 now. We'll see if that hangs out through the more inflationary prints later this week, but for now, a little bit of easing in the Fed fund futures pricing for zero rate cuts for 2025 up to about one. Bear steepener picked up a little bit, but not very much. But we didn't have any really significant data today. Tomorrow's durables might start to see this push back up again. I would keep an eye on this. As long as this continues down, bulls are going to keep trying to. They're going to keep trying to save everything. And out here on the daily, we got the EMA 30 test at open. Opened a little bit below it actually, and immediately rocketed back above the 50 MA. And then we spent the rest of the day consolidating and trying to push a little higher. We did push back into the prior trend here, but we did not close above it. And so this breakout will be pretty important. Obviously, there's a massive gap to the upside from the overnight move. Now, some of the overnight move driven by the carry, some of the overnight move driven by the middle of the night tariffs against Colombia, and some of the overnight move driven by the negative news surrounding AI. Obviously, the negative news surrounding AI is going to persist, but the Colombia tariffs were pulled back, and as far as further de-risking of the carry trade, I think I would expect more of it to occur after FOMC, when we have an idea, or participants have an idea of the path the Fed is going to take. Because the Fed's in a bit of a sticky situation this week. There's no real good decision they can make, and so I think whatever decision they do make is probably going to be very impactful. And whatever narrative they consider spinning up. It's going for it now that the market is closed. Not really. Anyway, that's about it for today. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I will see you bright and early tomorrow. Expect things to be mostly stable as we move into, there's a shitload of data over the next 4 days. And they're probably not going to sell everything they have, especially into the end of the month before that's over. That's how it goes. We don't have a reversal though. Things are still breaking down, and they might break down more tomorrow. I will, Dork. Thank you so much for the condom advice. All right, guys. I'll catch you later. Peace.